My name is Joseph Connor. I'm a lead shipwright for the reproduction of the Maryland dove. We are at the shores of the St. Mary's River in historic St. Mary's City, where the English established the fourth settlement in North America, and that settlement was supplied by the Ark and the Dove. The Ark was a 400-ton vessel, and the Dove was a much smaller trading ship, a 40-ton vessel. Both of the vessels were charged with supplies and settlers for the settlement here in the Chesapeake Bay. The Ark being a 400-ton, which is roughly 10 times the size of the Dove, would have carried the majority of the settlement. And the Dove's main purpose was a support vessel that once you got into tributaries and small rivers like you see around you, a smaller boat that's more maneuverable would then be able to trade and supply the budding settlement. In the time period that we're talking about, the 1630s, 1640s, it was a bit difficult to maneuver a ship the size of the Ark in these confined seaways. And the configuration of the rigs would lend to how maneuverable the ship would be in tight quarters. But definitely the size would be the biggest giveaway to how well a ship could maneuver. So obviously a ship like the Dove would be much well suited to what you see around you right now. Historic St. Mary's City has been operating the Maryland Dove for the last 40 years. It was built in the 1970s by Jim Richardson down in Dorchester County. It was to a William Baker design. William Baker is a very well-known naval historian and architect. He redrew a lot of different vessels from the 17th, 18th century to which we had ideas of what they looked at, but no real lines plans or construction drawings to go from. So he did vessels like the Mayflower that they're restoring up in Mystic, Connecticut right now, that's operated by Plymouth. He also did this rendition of the Maryland Dove. In the 70s, the best thought was that the vessel would have been fitted with an oceanic rig with 3 masts that's really well suited for crossing oceans, but not that well suited for sailing in tight confines like the Chesapeake Bay. A lot of shipwrecks have been uncovered since the 70s. We've been leaning heavily on institutions like the Vasa Museum in Sweden, who have been pulling up, both from the Baltic Sea, the North Sea, and around Europe, a lot of examples of British-built ships, the same era and the same tonnage as the Dove. So we've been able to take a lot of really interesting details, and one of those is the rig configuration. So we're going to change from this conception of the Maryland Dove to a Boyer rig, which is kind of a modern day ketch or yawl. It'll have a big main mast and then a small mizzen that's located all the way back. It'll make it a little bit more maneuverable, and it'll definitely sail to wind a little bit better than it currently does. Thank you so much for coming by and checking out our project. We'll be working on it for the next 2 years, and we plan to launch in 2021. So stop by as much as you possibly can. Volunteer to build any part of the ship if you want to. And I just want to wholeheartedly thank you for supporting what we're doing here and coming by to have a look.